since I now know that you're from the East Coast, I want to know from your perspective, what is your honest opinion of St. Louis?
I'd say the immediate, like, pure blunt honest is it's slower. Like, I'm a person, I talk fast, I move fast, I want to go through things fast. I don't think you have that same level of hustle and bustle, right? Like, you're not worried about catching a train. There aren't a million people zooming past you that you got to pay attention to. Walking around in New York City, the people talk slower, the vibes are easier, it's comfortable. I can't do the comfort. It's like when it gets quiet in a horror movie.
This is my degree. And this isn't my degree. Welcome to the show where I'm talking about the life of a full-time freelancer content creator. And sometimes I get to hang out with cool people like...
I'm Sam, aka Food by Stern on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, super, super talented guy. Like, thanks for being here. For those that don't know who you are, like, what do you do? Give us your background.
I share stories through food. And I want to share the fact that anybody can be creative in a kitchen, make delicious food, while also showing bits of my personality through what I love doing more than anything in the world, cooking.
How did you get started with, like, cooking? How did you discover that that was a passion of yours? Because, like, is that your background?
It's funny enough, when I, like, work with people in my day job, I tell people my background is culinary, because I think if I work in tech and I'm like, oh, I work in tech, and they're like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, but I do not know how to code.
Yeah.
That'll be like, oh, I'm like, oh, my background's culinary though. Ask me to make a steak, dude. I'll go hard there. But that's, I from a young age, it's always been something I'm interested in. My whole family is very, like, musical and artistic with things. And I think my expression came out more on a plate. And I also always knew that, like, eating food was, like, the happiest of memories for me. And, like, trying different cuisines, getting exposed to things at a young age, being blessed with parents who wanted to push me to try new things was always a pleasure of mine. But also on the flip side of that, I definitely, like, was always exploring new flavors myself. My parents have a very fond memory of theirs when I was, like, 5 or 6. We rarely had, like, fast food or anything, but when I was, like, 5 or 6, my parents, after some sort of school event or something, were like, some of the other kids were going to Wendy's, and my parents were like, oh, like Sam, come on, we'll go to Wendy's with them. And I was like, I don't eat Wendy's.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do Wendy's.
You were like,
I was
no
like,
4 for 4s here.
I was like, I don't order off the kids menu.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a kid. I don't want chicken fingers. I don't want French fries. Like, Dad's getting duck. I want duck. Like, I want to try these. Like, I want to try what these flavors are.
You were like, I just want to try all these different things that it's, like, not found on your typical fast food menu.
Yeah. No, I think
your burgers, your chicken strips, your
even
fries.
Just like the kids menu at a restaurant too. Yeah. Even, like, I was like, I don't want the kids menu.
Not even the toy was enough to tempt you?
No, not even the toy. I was like, I'm not a kid. Even just at, like, a normal restaurant, I was like, I like to think that the struggle I put my parents through for me being like, I'm not ordering off the kids menu, I'm getting an adult meal, has now been paid off by, like, the tons of meals I've made for them, where I'm like, this is the return on investment right here. This is me not getting chicken fingers, but me getting, like, steak au poivre at a restaurant that now I'm making you this thing.
Oh, wow.
And that's, like, yeah.
So are you self-taught? Like, what is your background within the culinary space?
So I've never gone to culinary school, and I never had, like, explicit teaching. I am a sponge for all that is around me, and I seek to be the water that can be soaked up by somebody else too in the future. I think from, Food Network as a kid, from hanging around in kitchens, from having the privilege of being able to know chefs and, like, communicate with them, from eating food and going home and being like, I need to figure out how to make that. And from making really crappy food, like, all of those influences together have kind of pushed me in different directions to tweak things. And I think the piece of it that I added myself is the interest in intuitive cooking, where if you show me flavors that go together well, if you say, here's, like, a chicken piccata dish, it is chicken, there's a butter, lemon sauce that uses shallots in it too, maybe we throw some capers in there, I'm going to remember lemon, butter, caper. Okay, shallot adds influence there too. Take it off a chicken, put it in pasta. Take it off, use it to steam clams, add the pasta back in. Take the flavors out, make a lemon sorbet, pair it with a gooey butter cake, throw capers in there because it throws the whole thing off, but I know those flavors work together in one way or another.
So you have a very experimental style with cooking.
Oh, purely. My favorite thing to cook is something I haven't ever cooked before.
Okay. I like that.
That's...
So
new cuisine that if I go out to a restaurant, I have like one of three thoughts. The first thought is I could have made this at home. That's like the most frustrating, and especially like
I feel that because like, you know, just being a videographer and everything, like sometimes whenever I see movies, I'm like, okay, that was a goof up right there.
Yeah.
Okay, that should have been lit differently. Okay, that could have been framed better. It's like there are a lot of things that I can't even like go back and look at because I'm just like, it's why is there a laugh track there? You know, it's like
just,
stuff like that.
I need it. Yeah, I'll go to a restaurant. I'll either think I could make this at home. Wow, I could never make this. This is exceptional food. I never even thought to do this together.
Yeah.
Or, and it's not, maybe it's not like I can never make this, but it's like, wow, that's exceptional.
Yeah.
It's not like, or maybe it's not like cost affordable for me to make it. It's better for me to like have it out at a restaurant. Or the most common and my favorite is like, oh, no way I'm making this. Yeah. This is cool. Like I need to do something like this. I went to a restaurant and I had, it was bone marrow with an oxtail marmalade and challah bread.
Interesting.
So it was like this sweet and umami, like almost like I'm gonna totally like not give it justice by calling it like a corned beef hash texture with like a marmalade and the fattiness of bone marrow all spread on these thick, like almost Texas toast style breads. And you eat it and you're like, I have never thought to make this before. I'm going home and I'm doing this.
I am drooling right now. That experimentation, I see it within your social media content as well, which is definitely something that I want to dive into because you have all these different series. You experiment with all these different formats, not just of food, but showing that in a video format. So kind of talk me through how you started like getting that thought in your head, like I should probably start documenting this stuff and sharing it with the world, and like how you decided to approach that.
Yeah, my first piece was I want to do exactly what everyone else was doing. So my first thought was, oh, like other people are, you know, making content, they're getting a lot of followers, they're having brand deals. Like I want to show people I can cook too. I want to put this out there. And then I was like, you know, this, like, first of all, I want to be more creative than this. I want to push myself for it. Mm-hmm. And I also want to differentiate, you know, the things that I'm doing, and I want to push more of my personality. A lot of people were telling me like, Sam, you know, we don't get you from the videos. We get, you know, all these other creators who are just making recipes. Like, you know, I wanted to put more of my creativity in it. So I thought, okay, well, what are the pieces about cooking that I love the most, right? Mm-hmm. Like I love the flavors of things, but more than anything else, I love the creativity of it. I love treating it like an art form, right?
Yeah.
And I love not knowing what's going to come out of something I make, right? Like none of the things that I cook have recipes before I make them. I rewatch my videos and I'm like, oh, how much of this did I put in? Did I forget anything there? Like I don't work off recipes. I work off, you know, what I have or what I think is going to taste good. So I kind of wanted to take people through that process of, you know, when you watch the video, you are watching me thinking through what I'm going to do with these things, right?
Yeah.
Step by step. I don't know what the next thing I'm going to do is until I start doing it. You're going to watch me throw darts at a dartboard to even figure out what ingredients I'm going to use, right? You're going to watch me.
How did you even come up with that concept?
I like the randomness. You know, when I was a little kid, not a little kid, when I was younger, I would watch shows like Chopped or things where there was a mystery ingredient, and right as they showed all the ingredients in the basket, I'd pause the video and I would think, what am I making, right? So like, what is the thing that I'm going to use? You know, how am I going to use these ingredients to make something delicious? And so I thought, you know, let's make my own version of that show. Let me make my own challenge where, you know, I'm taking random ingredients that people are providing to me or people are challenging me with, and I'm going to find some way to generate it. And I thought a dartboard is fun and interactive, you know, and it really shows people like, hey, this is happening on the spot, right? I'm throwing these darts. I'm not good at throwing them. They're going to land somewhere, and I got to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
So that is like the pure essence of how I like to cook. It's give me a challenge.
Yeah, it's like something different. It's not just like your typical, oh, here's the end result. Here's what I'm going to make. You're like, okay, here are these ingredients that you probably wouldn't put together like on a normal day. Here's what I'm going to do with it.
Absolutely. And then, you know, I want to give people that same experience I had when I was younger. And like, I'll show you, I'll be like, hey, here are the like 4 ingredients that I got from throwing these darts. You know, I got to figure out what to make with it. Let me know what you would make in the comments, right? Like pause the video, look at the mystery ingredients. You tell me what you're making. And that's like one of my favorite things to do because I want to see what everybody would think of, right? Mm-hmm. Like I always know what I'm going to make before somebody leaves their comment on things, but it'd be like, wow, I never even thought about that thing. Like that's so creative.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Has there been a comment that like somebody has put on your video that you're like, wow, that's actually a really fascinating concept. I think I'm going to do that.
There are comments that people have left of like, oh, you should try doing this or like something like that. And I was like, wow, like, yeah, I'm going to make that for myself and I'm just going to eat it because that sounds delicious. Yeah. But I'll comment back. I'll be like, dude, That's brilliant. Make it. Tag me in the video. Show me what you got. Like, show me like let's go head to head with this. Go crazy. Like, give it to your friend. You know, I'll send my stuff to them too. We'll test it out, right? Like, who can make a better dish with these things, or what's the level of creativity?
Have you done a cook-off with somebody through social media?
I did one with a brand deal actually, where it was it was
sponsored cook-off.
Yeah, a sponsored cook-off. It was Halloween themed, last Halloween, and I did it with Henry Mattis here in town, and it was like 3 courses of a Halloween themed dish.
Okay, so walk us through. We have course 1. Yeah. What'd you start with?
Oh, I need to remember what course 1.
Oh no, there was a forgettable course.
No. I'm trying to remember.
Come on now. Everything this guy makes, is fascinating.
I made deviled eggs, but in a way that was like, you know, I wanted them to look like bloodshot eyes.
Yo.
So I was like, I want these like bloodshot eye deviled eggs. I'm trying to remember what Henry made for his appetizer. I think it was definitely better than mine was, because I made the yolks in them like a green color to resemble eyes. And I was looking at this and I was like, oh, this looks so Halloween, but it's like so visually unappetizing because it's meant to be spooky.
But it's meant to have that essence.
Yeah. But we, I wish I remember what he made. So unforgettable. I must have won that round.
Well, I was about to say, did you win the overall cook-off?
We left it up to a tie. I think the viewers had to determine what it was. Decided. But yeah, I mean, what
did the viewers say?
They can watch the video again and they can let me know.
We'll link it in the description below so you can check that out, or in the show notes if you're listening through audio.
I think maybe the brand has exclusive rights to that. It was one of those. It wasn't like my main style of doing things. It was one of those like, send us footage and we'll show what we got. But I would love to do a cooking competition like with other creators. And I'm competitive. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not competitive. I've tried out for some cooking shows because I would love to be on one.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we need to get a competition going. I'd love to have like a cook off with someone.
Okay, so would you like to do that? Because you're actually about to leave St. Louis in a few days.
I am moving. Yeah.
And you're leaving for Jersey. Is that right?
I'm moving to New Jersey in like 4 days as of this moment right now.
And you have not packed whatsoever?
I have 0 things packed. And I have a ton of kitchen things that I need to bring. So that'll be a fun adventure.
So are you going to, kind of like how you did here in St. Louis, do you plan on like connecting with the local community and doing some of these things? Mm-hmm. Talk about your experience here in St. Louis. Because like, where did you come from before here?
Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey, went to school in Indiana, moved to St. Louis for work. Didn't know a thing about St. Louis.
Yeah.
I have that bug where I have to get back there.
Yeah.
And I need to scratch this itch of like hustle and be in that environment with things. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just where, like, you know, as someone who grew up in the East Coast, when I came to the Midwest and someone was like initially nice to me, I start checking my pockets.
You're like, yo,
I'm like, what did you
hold on a minute.
Who's behind me?
It's like, is that a compliment? Like, what are you trying to do here? Yeah, no, honestly, I love the energy of the East Coast, and I love like the hustle bustle, but also kind of like just the straightforwardness of everything.
Yeah, it's direct.
Like, it's very direct, and that's what I really respect about it. Because like, even just like being from here, growing up here, I still feel like, okay, we need a little more like edge. You know, like we need a little more pep in our step, I feel like.
I think the people in St. Louis act exactly the way that's needed for St. Louis.
Yeah.
And I think the people in New Jersey have adapted to act the way they need to in New Jersey. And I think even there, like, you'll get pockets of certain people where I'm like, you, sir, should move to St. Louis because you, like, you do great over there. And I find people here and I meet and I'm like, you're from, they make those out here in St. Louis?
Yep.
They make people like you guys out here?
Yep.
Like, and this, I think, especially like meeting these other creators here, like, I say this all the time, St. Louis is such a canvas for creativity that is just waiting to be painted on. Like, there are so many people like yourself, like other creators in St. Louis that are popping up that like need, one, the recognition and the support of the community so that it can be a proof of concept to show other people that they should come out of the woodworks, right? Yes. I came here, I'm the only person cooking on social media that I've seen in St. Louis, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I really can't think of many other creators that are doing it. And it's so refreshing to hear that also, because I've been in the YouTube game since like 2015. Like, whenever I was actually like, okay, I'm going to upload videos, even though my first video was like uploaded in like 2008. It's bad. Don't go looking that up. But it's refreshing to hear like that this stuff can happen. And like St. Louis is a canvas for so many great things. But it's like we need more. We need more people to like just pick up the camera. We need more people to like start going to events, start hosting events. Like, there's so much that I feel like our infrastructure lacks whenever it comes to support. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Like, coming from a bigger city that's like in the creator space, maybe I'd say like 10 years ahead. Like,
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think creators in St. Louis have a much better opportunity than creators in New York do. Interesting. I think the atmosphere in St. Louis, first of all, there's a lot less barrier to entry, right? You could be the first person doing something, right? If I'm at somebody in when I go back to the East Coast, like in that New Jersey, New York area, there are so many people that are doing the types of things I'm doing. Great. I can potentially collaborate with them if they see me at their level, or if it works. Maybe we're seen as competition for similar deals or similar audiences or things like that.
Yeah.
In St. Louis, people in St. Louis love St. Louis more than I think people in New Jersey love New Jersey.
I would agree with that.
I think people in St. Louis, it's like, you are from St. Louis, probably because people bash this city all the time. Like, when you are...
Do they really?
No. I don't think people bash the city, but I think the idea of like if you're from St. Louis, you're on like the defensive, you are like that person where you're like, I'm from St. Louis and I'm proud, right? People who are from New York or from LA or from Chicago, they're like, yeah, I'm from New York. Everybody knows New York. You're like, what about New York, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the St. Louis attitude is, it's the show me state, right? It's like let me show me, let me show you also. Let me show you what St. Louis has got, right? Like, I think there's such an element for creators to take on where they will get rapid support from people. People will be like, I know that restaurant that's down the street. I know this place. Like, they'll be so supportive of the people who are putting themselves out there. Mm-hmm. But I also think that more people got to be supportive of it, right? You got millions of people in the city, around the city, that can, take advantage of this opportunity to either themselves be a creator or to show people globally, nationally and internationally, what St. Louis has to offer, right? Mm-hmm. Even to the extent that like there are people who travel to cities just for the purpose of trying a restaurant that they saw a creator post about. Like, Absolutely. That could easily be St. Louis. When you talk about infrastructure support, talk about the longevity of influence that a video can have on the city as a whole, right? You talk about the promotion of Cardinals as a brand, of the Blues broadcasting nationally or even internationally. Like, you get people from all over that know what this is about. They want to visit for the purpose of a game. It's very achievable to have something similar around, creators. You can have people come visit an artist because you're promoting that. You can have people visit a restaurant because it's being promoted. And the platform for that is social media. So
absolutely. I mean, it's so true. And like, for any aspiring creators that are out here listening to this or watching, it's really just about showing up and doing it. Because I've had people, like, based on YouTube videos that I've posted like, oh my gosh, about restaurants, events, happenings. Like, whenever the Blues won the Stanley Cup, I was there making a video about that. I mean, it's like, people see this stuff and they're like, oh my gosh, St. Louis is actually like a really cool place. And like, there's so much potential here. And I've had people message me that, like, they visited, they're like, okay, I'm going to add that to my vacation like list for next year. I've had people tell me that they've moved here because they've seen my content, and just like the way that me as one person has painted this city as like this really cool place, because really it's just about me documenting what life is like here. I'm not doing anything fancy, but it's a hidden gem. And I feel like if more people, like you said, really put themselves out there and actually stand up and like put on for the city, that we would have so much more support here, and like so much more just happening, because like we really are acting as like cheerleaders for St. Louis. And
it's also, you're the like outlet for other people externally from the city to see what it has to offer. I think we're seeing it, the phased approach right now is that there are people who live in St. Louis who are now getting access to events, opportunities, intellectual moments, or creator opportunities that they weren't previously having access to, because you have people that are posting like, hey, here are the events that are going on in the city, or hey, try these restaurants, or come to this pop-up. As a person who moved here, who didn't really like know the ways to find that information, this is our generation's way of absorbing information outside of like television or news outlets or magazines or radio. Like this is our generation's forum. So this right now, I see it, it's allowing people in the city to get access to those things. The next step is the broadcasting out of the city, right? I think there are more creators that need to promote the city, show what's going on in the city for people internally. And then it turns out to being like, oh, wow, like people like that are in St. Louis. People doing those things are in St. Louis. Those events are in St. Louis. And like, it is not far-fetched to think about the amount of people that will come to a city from neighboring areas, or even from rural Missouri, from all over, even other countries, like to come
Kansas
visit
City,
things.
Chicago, like all these other major cities that are within like 5 hours.
And it's not that far-fetched to think about when you have something like, Warm Springs Ranch, where the Clydesdales are, and they promote that, and they say they've had people from every single country come. And you have people who come to America on a tour, and they go through St. Louis to do a certain activity, or they're coming and they're just coming to visit St. Louis. Like, you open yourself to the possibility of being the thing to do in St. Louis with the right sort of promotion and content around it. I think that's, it's brilliant. You also just show the stuff that we have. I think there are ample things that St. Louis has to offer. Just shed some light on it.
Seriously. Like it's, and like you said, there's not a lot of people doing it right now. So like, if you start doing it, or like these like other reporter websites, we're going to Instagram.
Oh yeah.
We're going to like, we're sometimes even looking on YouTube.
You look at the future of things too. Like, if you want to learn how to do something, you go on YouTube. If you want like restaurants in this certain area, you could go on TikTok, or you're searching on Instagram. These are becoming, search engines for things that if you're a person out there who's making content, like take advantage of that, right? Things to do in St. Louis. That is a search hit that people want to know, right? Best restaurants.
Confirm. Like, I've seen the analytics. TubeBuddy, shout out to you.
Like best restaurant.
Been from just like posting YouTube videos about things that are going on here. I had a music artist from New Jersey, ironically. I can't remember exactly where from, but he flew into town for, I think, either recording or a concert. And he DM'd me and said like, hey man, can we like link up or something? Cause like I watched your YouTube videos and like, I want to know what's going on in St. Louis. And then like it ended up, there's a full video, I'll link it, but it ended up being like a whole, like I had an event that day. And I was like, oh, we'll pop out to this event. We'll like, I'll show you around the city. We'll like go get some photos and stuff. Like we'll make it cool and we'll make a whole experience out of it. It's like the power of social media, specifically like with drawing attention to certain places, is crazy. Because like that's just like saying that out loud. I'm just like, wow. So like I didn't know this person. We didn't know each other. And just because he came to St. Louis and wanted to know more about the city and what to do, I made a friend out of that.
I had 2,000 followers on Instagram, and a company sat me courtside at the Lakers game.
Crazy. Followers are such a vanity metric, man.
It was like
such a vanity metric.
Dude, it's like, especially nowadays too, right? Like, what is a follower when the application wants people to see more content, right? Like, if I have 20,000 followers on something, does that mean that 20,000 people are going to see my stuff every day? No, I see the analytics of it. I know how many people are seeing my things, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, if you're giving me the breakdown, like, show me my videos. tell me why a video gets 10,000 views. If I have 2,000 followers, you're only showing 500 people that. The rest of the video views are coming from, non-followers, right?
Yeah,
so
it's explore feeds and stuff.
Yeah, and how many videos do you watch a day that you're like, oh, that's really, really, really cool. I'm going to send it to somebody, but I'm not going to follow this person. And there's like such a level of just interaction that a lot more of the time is more valuable to see than just like a pure follow. Like I don't think a follow necessarily means as much as it used to, as much as like engagement does.
That part, like followers, I feel like it's still like, I don't know, people see it as like, oh crap, you have like 100K followers, that's crazy. And it's like, but if you actually look at the engagement, it might not be there.
This is where I think, like, if you talk about the value of a creator as an influencer or an area for promotion for a product, you have all these metrics that you can look at, right? You can see how many followers they have, how many likes a video gets, how many shares a video gets, how many saves, how many comments. And I think these metrics they're brilliant. As a techie person who loves analytics, I think it's brilliant because as a creator, from the creator side, you can pitch yourself to brands with different value props, right? You can say, I'm going to charge a brand X amount as a subscription monthly fee because I have X amount of followers, which means that the likelihood that someone can quickly go back to their follower list and click on me, or they'll see me in their feed, there is a high possibility of site revisit. So I know that the opportunity for someone to see something on my page is very high because they might not see it the first time I go through it and the first time I make it, but they might see it when they revisit old videos of mine, or they might see it when they, click on my page. A single person might see it, later on, or they might see it multiple times. And that is like a revisiting option for the video I've made for a company or a brand. The number of likes is just like, oh, cool. That is a checkbox of a person saw this and engaged with it in some way. A comment tagging a friend is like, look how many people this can go to. Saving it for later, again, is that revisit possibility. Like, I think those are the engagement metrics that matter. And a lot of the time I make content with the type of engagement I'm looking for at the forefront, because I think people that
It's a great way to think about it.
Right? Like content for viewership is great, but in this game of, growth, expansion, getting wider, casting a wider net of followers and of people to engage, working with brands, all these things, like the engagement is something that really matters. And so like, just like any sort of marketing, what is the call to action, right? If you say like, comment below what you think about this, right? You want them to comment, send this to a friend, right? Save this for later, right? Let me know what you think of this. Follow along for more recipes. Like, you are telling them if you have one action to take in that moment, what is that one action and why do you as a creator want them to take that one action, right? So like, I think there are a lot of people in my niche where it's like, okay, save this recipe for later, send this to somebody else who should make this for you, you know, something like that.
Or somebody that you want to enjoy this with, like stuff like that.
Yeah. And the same extent, you have like, click the link below. Now you can send them somewhere else and you can get traffic to another website. You can like push somebody in all these different directions. And I think the engagement element of it is such a more valuable metric. And there are a lot of different ways that you can gauge that too.
This specifically, like having that connection between creator and business mind is so huge, and being able to like really reflect on the analytics, look back at like, why are people looking at things? What is causing them to like swipe? What is causing them to stay on the video? Like, that's super interesting because that's stuff that massive creators talk about all the time. So it's like, it's only a matter of time before you pop off. I'm calling it right here, right now. All 3 cameras. It's only a matter of time. Revisit this in 3 months. Check his Instagram, check his TikTok, and his YouTube, which, you have a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube. I have like 200 subscribers.
Oh, bro, we got to get that up. Are you posting the shorts?
Yeah, I'm posting the shorts. It's look at the draw. Honestly, I don't think I've mastered. I don't put enough attention to YouTube. I definitely should.
Dude, you have to.
In an ideal world, I'd be making content like, one, vertical, one, like horizontal formats for things, landscape, and, I would have like both of those going at the same time. I would cut one to be like a short clip. I'd make like the same video. I'd have like an ASMR version. I'd have a short instructional version for short form. I would have a voiced over version, and I would have a long form like instructional one. And I would just cut those together too. That's, I think, like, I'm not quite there yet, but
okay.
So that's like the long term vision of like how to really utilize like my time well.
Do you use like an actual camera to film all your stuff?
All of my footage is on an iPhone.
Okay. Because like one thing that I found really interesting is like if you go into your just like the photo version of your iPhone and like you drag it, I think that's the wrong way. That was for shutter. But like if you drag it to the right, you're shooting an open gate. So that way you have more flexibility for both vertical and horizontal.
I did
That
not
way
even
it
know
future
that.
proofs your content. Because like with my cameras, I shoot all open gate. So you have like more vertical, more horizontal. So that way, like you have the option to future proof your videos. So that way, if you want to have it in a vertical application, you're ready to go. Horizontal, you're ready to go for that too. So that's just, I don't know, a little hack.
That is a great hack. No, that's already like learn something new every day, and we've already hit that mark for me. That's awesome. No, I definitely will look into that too, because that's huge.
Like talk about your workflow right now. Like walk us through like, okay, I want to make a video. How do you come up with the concept? And then how do you execute upon that?
Yeah. So recently, the types of videos I want to make are content forward. They're not so much recipe forward. So I want there to be a content. Like, oh, that was really funny. Like this guy started a video with, you know what you can do with leftover, chicken breasts? You can take your chicken breasts and cut them up and, do all these things.
Yeah.
And all the comments are like, LMAO, you can just eat it cold, bro. Haha, you can eat it cold. And I go, well, what if I make a video that's like, hey, you know what you can do with leftover chicken cutlets? And then it's just me over a sink with like a bottle of sauce, eating it like a slob. And that is like relatable. And like, boom, a video like that, which doesn't take as much effort to put in, can pop off somewhere. And so
That's so true. It's always the ones that are like the lowest effort that like the algorithm's like, I need more of that.
yeah, no, it's crazy. But so I start with a concept of, what am I trying to push forward? What is like the story? What do I think people will like? And then I will, set up my whole place, make sure I have all the ingredients for it, go shopping for things, figure out the types of cuts I want to do. Like, do I want, a very like ASMR type video? Do I want to do a voiceover for something? Like, what elements of humor do I want? What is the hook going to be? Do I want to...
The hook is crucial.
It's key, right? You have a second to capture somebody from scrolling, and it is like a, inverse exponential curve to the like decreased attention that a viewer will have, where they will be looking at your they're interested, that they're hooked in something, so that you show that brand, you have higher viewership. They're less likely to be deterred to think, oh, it's just an ad video. Like, wait until, you're 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the video for that. So like, I'll focus on a hook.
You have this broken down like it's a recipe.
It's all the ingredients, it's got to work. And sometimes it doesn't, but I try.
Yeah.
I will figure out what I want to make, and I'll figure out what the hook is going to be. Am I showing the image up front, right? Like, am I capturing people's views because I want, like, they want to make what I'm making? Do I think it's something that's going to be approachable? Do I want to be like, dude, you have to make this like, spaghetti and meatballs? And people are like, that sounds like something I could make. So I'm going to save.
People are like, whoa,
what's gonna piss me off?
What's gonna make me upset?
I'm a person with an opinion.
How's it gonna anger me?
It's me being like, this one's gonna piss people off. You can make like, and then I'll just start right, and then it's like string people along for the ride, right? It's like the same clickbait. I'm gonna make a video already that's gonna be like, this one's gonna piss people off. That's how it's gonna start.
Or here's why you're doing this wrong.
Yeah,
and it's like, whoa, what am I doing wrong?
I'm gonna make a video. It's gonna be this is like, this one's gonna piss people off, and I'm gonna say something like, technically a soup dumpling is just any dumpling that's filled with soup. And I'll be saying it while I'm like going through things. And I'll be like, that means that the tomato soup grilled cheese soup dumpling is a viable soup dumpling. And like, boom, rush to the comments. for people, right? And so I think there's like, I try to steer clear from just purely videos like that, because I think there's a lot of things that are like, you know, it is just content for the sake of content. Like, what if we took a pizza and we made a bowl out of the pizza and we put pasta inside of that and then we deep fried the whole thing? And it's like, dude, that's like,
you kind of have a little, you have to have a little bit of that like provocative like topic, just to like get people kind of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So
like, why would you do that? That's a bad take. Why would you even think that? Because that like gets them like, once you hit like the feelings, that's whenever people are like, okay, I gotta express myself. I gotta give my 2 cents on the matter.
Yeah. So I think like a lot of the content approach that I do like happens in the editing format. Like I'm of the belief of just like get as much footage as you can and something will work out.
Absolutely.
So like, and if it doesn't work out, like, okay, kill the audio, take the shots, voice something over, right? Use it as B-roll, right? There's a great creator I know, and I've seen it because I follow his stuff like super well. I'm like, oh, I recognize that shot from this other video, this other shot from this other video, and he is a brilliant designer of reusing content. So like, how many open shots can you get of just different things that then you can majority of the time in the niche that I'm in, like you have just used that same slot of time and you have used the cut videos that you already know work. You have pieced them together. You made a voiceover. Now you have like used that content in another area. So I also think about
like a whole new piece of content according to the social media platforms.
Yeah. And I think
like they see it as like, oh, that's brand new.
Yeah. I think a lot about like reusability with things too. And then half the time I start editing a video on my phone on the treadmill, just walking. I'm like, what is a way to like distract myself from exercise? And I'll edit a video on my phone.
That's really clever, actually. I guess, what would you say is next for you? Because like now you have like this well thought out path. What's next for you? Because you're on the move in a couple business days. So what's going to happen once you get out there?
When I get out there,
you're gonna send me bagels.
I'm gonna send you bagels.
Like the bagel photos that he sent me of like what he made. I'm just like, I've been craving a New York style bagel.
I used to sell bagels in college in Indiana.
Well, sell them to me. Okay.
My buddy and I in Indiana, we would work out of like his small apartment building, his small apartment like room. And we would just like clear everything out of the refrigerator. We'd make a bunch of bagels. We would do pre-orders, and sell them to hungover kids. Like I've always had a business mind with creating something. I'm of the belief that's like, you know, it's very hard to do what you love. Yeah. So find love in what you're doing. And then also if there is something that you love, start to dabble in that. And if you can make money from it, that's awesome. Like any money I've made from the things that I love doing purely at the core that have been of my own like efforts, like a cooking video or something, I've valued that money way more than, you know, making a lot more money in another venture that was more like, you know, employment working for someone else. But I think that's just the way that I value that success. But so we just started, you know, making bagels, and I was like, what is the business concept that we could have with this? Hungover college kids delivered bagels to their door in the morning. And that was like, boom, dude,
that's so good.
200 to 300 bagels every weekend we would sell that we would make at his place, mixing all the dough with a metal fork.
That is hustle.
It was hustle. We would shape these bagels. We would like, especially, I mean, making the bagels like Saturday, like for a Sunday morning, get home from the bar at like 3 a.m. on a Saturday night. And then you got 2 hours, so you got to start making bagels. You got to take them out of the fridge. You got to let them proof, right? You got to like boil them. Then we're baking them. Then we're topping them with things. Cool. Like, are we prepping any meats to put on the bagel? What's the schmear that's going on it? Like, ton of that. Anyway,
So I guess, would you say bagel making is part of the future plan? In any capacity?
No, I don't think bagel making. I mean, dude, they got such good bagels out in Jersey and New York too. Like,
so then what's next?
What's next? I moved to New York area, New Jersey.
Close enough.
I moved right on the border.
Yeah.
But I'm moving back to the East Coast, and I want to connect a lot with more creators. For the longest time, I had this imposter syndrome that, you know, I was making good content. I felt like I was making good content, but I didn't feel like I was making good content because I wasn't getting the audience that I thought I should have with it. I thought if this is
Too
better,
relatable.
right? I thought like it's stressful too. You're like, I'm putting out good content. If brands think I'm good enough that they want to reach out to me to do things for them, then why don't these people think I'm good enough to follow, right? Like, what is the reasoning? There has to be some justification that these other people get followers and I don't, that these other people get engagement that I don't, right? And then now I'm kind of at that point where the base level that I thought I could be a legitimate creator at, I've hit. So I'm at that level now. And so I want to go hard. I want to collaborate with people. I want to combine the types of styles we have. I want to show, what I have to other audiences. I want to show what other people have to my audience.
Yeah.
I want to embrace it. And I want to go hard on the creativity, right? I have a proof of concept that people like what I do.
Yeah.
So I want to push it further. I want to push my personality further. I want to make more creative content. I want to go, deeper into the ability to combine the thing I love, which is cooking, with this idea of storytelling and pushing out my own personality. So the direction I'm moving in is a lot more creativity in what I'm doing and a lot more content. And it's just going to be a lot more content, a lot more collaboration. And I want to start doing things that push the boundaries for things. I want to be differentiated from other creators, and I want to make myself into a brand so that I can do things like open a restaurant, collaborate, do restaurant takeovers, do pop-ups with people.
That'd be sick.
And like, I want the recognition in the community that I'm hoping to break into, that I can get invited to cool restaurants, that I can meet cool chefs. Like, I want to meet these people and be at the caliber that they're at, because they're like my idols. They're the people I look up to.
Mm-hmm. I think that's precisely what I'm trying to do with kind of where I'm going to. It's just in a different niche. So like, I relate to that super hard. It's like wanting to build that community, build that audience, provide them with something cool and different, something that's not cookie cutter, but also collaborate with a ton of other creators that you can learn from, or just like do cool things with, or maybe like you can expose them to something new as well. It's like and I think there's going to be a lot of cool opportunities for you. And I can't wait to see like what happens like a year from now, 2 years, 5 years. Kind of like you were saying, like, I think you definitely have that drive and hustle and ambition. And not to mention just like your content is different. You have a different perspective of looking at things. And I think it's going to be cool to see where you're going to be in our next episode, which we'll do in a year or whatever.
I'm hyped. No, I'm excited for that. Dude, it's a trip.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'll come visit you.
Do it. Yeah. We
can whip something up, and that can be our episode. We'll do
absolutely. Yeah. No, I would love to do another concept of like the same way that Hot Ones works, but I would love to have people on and be like, hey, like, what's your favorite meal? And I'll cook favorite meal while like doing some sort of an interview with somebody. I think that'd be like a really cool thing. Like, hey, what's your favorite?
That'd be sick.
Like, what's your favorite meal? I'll cook it with you. But it's a trip being on these things. Like, like I see creators who I looked up to, and then I see creators who are starting out that get to the level where they're collaborating with the creators that I look up to, and I'm like, oh, that could be me. I see the creators that I look up to.
Will be you.
I see the creators that I look up to collaborating with famous chefs. I see them collaborating with like famous people, and it's like that level of like, just community and being in with this like celebrity status. I was like, that's crazy. It is so achievable for our generation to get to that level through social media. And like, dude, the fact that I can make a video on TikTok and have like Wolfgang Puck like the video, like a famous chef. I'm like, bro, imagine I'm you making content and fucking Christopher Nolan likes my video.
I mean, eventually there's going to come a point where you are that creator that people are freaking out, just like the video. They're going to be like, holy shit, Sam just liked my video, or like, oh my God, I get to collab. Dude, like, that's going to be so cool.
Anybody. I would like, that is my dream. I would love somebody to reach out to me and be like, hey, I'm really interested in doing this. I have 2,000 followers. Sam, you have 100,000 followers. I'm like, bro, what's your address? I'm coming over. We're cooking. We're collabing, right?
Yeah.
Every person that comments on my feed, on my posts, I'm responding back to. I'm liking the message. I'm hearting it. I'm doing something. You comment something bad, I'm giving you love. It's like I want that engagement with people. And there's also like I'm me. I'm always gonna be me.
Yeah.
No matter what level of popularity on social media or whatever I get. Like, my personality is my personality. I want to engage with people. I want to reach out to people. I'm doing what I do because I love doing it. I want to show people how much I love doing it. And when somebody loves to see what I do and what I love, that is the best feeling in the world.
I feel like that is the perfect line to end on. That is perfect. And I hope that like everybody has something to take away from this, because I feel like this was a very inspirational, like uplifting creator episode.
But
Also just like helping share your story and like kind of the relatability of like what we go through as creators, especially on like a smaller scale for now. So
no,
thanks.
I love how you put it too. Like we are creators. We're not influencers. We are here to create, right? And people consume entertainment. And I think when you build something and somebody else likes it, you have the power to influence. And with the power to influence is a very, 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 big responsibility to make sure you're pushing something forward that you agree with and that you're comfortable promoting. We're creators at the end of the day, and everyone is a creator, whether or not they have a platform. And so this is, an opportunity, right? Everyone is a creator, whether or not they have a platform.
And that's why I hope to influence you to check out his content, which is linked in the show notes and in the description below for those of you video viewers. And hit that subscribe button before you head out. Ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And that, everyone, is going to wrap the episode. Thanks for joining me.
Dude, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Seriously. What are you still doing here? Go check out his stuff.
At Food by Stern, FOODBYSTERN.
Why are you still listening or watching? Or why are you doing both? I don't know. You could be doing one or the other or both. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Go check it out. Peace.